The first time Commander Rian Hal saw the planet Aurealis, he expected to feel something: wonder, fear, maybe even guilt. But instead, he felt nothing. The world below looked peaceful from orbit, wrapped in soft white storms and a faint blue glow. If someone didn't know better, they would think it was untouched. But the silence told the truth. No transmissions. No signals. Not even static. Just a dead calm stretching across an entire world. The crew of the human dreadnought Vanguard stood quiet at their stations. Even the hum of the engines felt softer, as if the ship itself sensed something was wrong. Still nothing, Rian asked, though he already knew the answer. Lieutenant Mara shook her head. Not a whisper, sir. It's like the planet swallowed its own voice. Rian exhaled slowly. His reflection in the glass showed tired eyes. A man who had seen too many broken worlds lately. But this one felt different. Aurealis wasn't an enemy stronghold. It wasn't a war. It was supposed to be a refugee sanctuary. So why was it silent? A faint tension crawled up his spine. Human instincts were strange things, old, primal, often ignored, but they were rarely wrong. Something here was watching them. Something patient. Detecting motion, the sensor officer whispered suddenly. On the surface. Multiple points. The tension in the room sharpened instantly. Life signs? Rian asked. No, sir. It's machinery. Something big, moving under the clouds. Mara swallowed. Do we know who it belongs to? No, the officer replied. But, whatever it is, it wasn't here last week. Rian straightened. The distant glow of the planet reflecting in his eyes. Bring the ship to alert condition, he said. Quietly, the silence wasn't natural, it was a warning, and something had set the stage long before humans arrived. The Vanguard drifted closer to Aurealis, its engines dimming as if trying not to disturb whatever waited below. The clouds twisted slowly across the surface, hiding the moving shapes the sensors had detected. Rian stood behind the helm, arms folded, eyes fixed on the swirling atmosphere. Try another scan, he said. The sensor officer shook his head before the request even finished. Sir, the readings keep shifting, like something is scrambling them. Mara let out a low breath. Scrambling? On a refugee planet? Who would even have that kind of tech out here? Rian didn't answer. He didn't want to say the name forming in his mind. The crew had seen enough dark corners of the galaxy to know when things didn't add up. But this felt wrong in a way he couldn't describe. Put me through to the hangar, Rian said. The cum crackled, and Chief Pharaoh's rough voice came on. Commander, prep a recon drone. Something small? You think something down there is hostile? Rian hesitated. I think something down there is alive, and it doesn't want to be found. A soft, nervous laugh rippled across the bridge. It wasn't disrespect, it was fear bleeding out in the only way humans knew how. Minutes later, a silver drone slipped from the hangar bay and descended through the clouds. Its camera feed flickered onto the main screen. For a moment, all they saw were thick white storms. Then, the image steadied. A scorched valley, charred trees, a settlement in ruins, metal walls torn open like paper. And moving between the debris were towering mechanical forms, six-legged, smooth, silent. Their armor was blackened, marked with symbols no one recognized. But one thing was clear. They're not from Aurealis. Mara whispered. No, Rian replied softly, his jaw tightening, but they're waiting here. For us. And as one of the machines turned its head, as if looking directly at the drone, the bridge filled with a cold quiet. This wasn't an abandoned planet, it was an ambush. The drone's feed trembled as it hovered above the ruined valley. The machine, Bellator, dark, almost insect-like, tilted its head further, as if listening to something only it could hear. Its limbs shifted with an eerie grace, smooth and deliberate. Nothing biological moved like that. Rian leaned closer to the screen, trying to slow his breathing. Pull the drone back, he said quietly. The operator nodded and tapped a command, but the drone didn't move. It's not responding, the operator whispered. A soft click came through the speakers, like metal tapping metal. The machine on the surface raised one limb toward the sky. A faint pulse flickered in the air, almost invisible. Then the drone's feed turned to static. Mara cursed under her breath. They took control of it. Just like that, the bridge fell into a heavy silence. No one needed to say what they were thinking. Whatever these machines were, they weren't scavengers or leftover tech. They were designed for something far more dangerous. Rian stepped back from the screen, running a hand through his hair. Small habits returned when fear pressed in tight jaw, tapping fingers, the slightest tremor in his breathing. Human instincts again. Commander Pharaoh said over the com, voice tight, "You need to see this. Put it through." A new feed appeared. Hangar sensors. Pharaoh stood beside a scorched fragment the drone transmitted before losing control. The metal shard looked melted, its edges warped like it had been exposed to impossible heat. "What did this?" Rian asked. "It wasn't the crash," Pharaoh murmured. "This metal. It's engineered to absorb energy. Our laser cutters barely scratch it." Mara frowned. "So these machines can survive almost anything." Rian felt his stomach sink. "Not almost," he said quietly. "Everything." Outside the viewport, Aurealis turned slowly beneath them, its storms glowing faintly. Something down there was learning, adapting, waiting. And now it knew humans had arrived. Rian barely slept. He didn't leave the bridge. Ether just paced slowly between the panels, eyes drifting back to the planet below every few minutes. Dawnlight rolled across her, turning the atmosphere gold for a moment before sinking into deeper clouds. But nothing living greeted the sun. Only the machines moved. Commander Mara said softly, "We need to make a decision. We can't sit here and wait for them to make the first move." Rian nodded, though he didn't speak right away. His father used to tell him that silence was also a decision. But this silence felt wrong, like holding your breath too long underwater. Finally, he said, "We send a manned scout shuttle. Low altitude. No direct contact." Mara stiffened. "A shuttle? After what happened to the drone?" "Humans improvise," he said. "Those things haven't seen us up close." A small smile tugged at the corner of Mara's mouth. Reckless. Very human. Minutes later, the shuttle Sparrow slipped free from the Vanguard's docking arm, descending into the thick cloud layers. Rian watched the feed on the main screen, every muscle tight. The clouds thinned. Ruins stretched across the land like scars. Burned settlements. Collapsed towers. Blackened soil where forests once stood. But then something else appeared. "Zoom in," Rian said. The camera focused on a wide crater, and inside it lay a massive ring of metal, half buried, pulsing with a faint blue rhythm, most like a heartbeat. "What is that?" Mara breathed. Before anyone could answer, movement flashed on the left. One of the six-legged machines emerged from the dust, climbing the crater wall with terrifying ease. Another followed, then 5 more. They were hiding under the surface. The pilot whispered. Voice trembling, Rion stepped closer to the screen as the machines formed a circle around the ring, their limbs lowering, like soldiers awaiting a command. The planet wasn't silent because it had died. It was silent because it was preparing for something. Far worse, the machines around the crater moved in eerie unison, as if listening to a voice no one could hear. The ring pulsed brighter blue, shifting to a deep, unsettling violet. Waves of energy rippled across the metal, bending the dust around it. Inside the shuttle, the pilot's breath hitched. "Commander, we shouldn't be this close." Rion felt the same fear tightening his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "Hold position. If we run, they'll know we're afraid." Mara shot him a look. "We are afraid." Rion didn't deny it. On the screen, the machines raised their front limbs toward the sky. Their metal joints opened, revealing long vents filled with glowing threads like exposed nerves. A low hum began to vibrate through the shuttle's audio feed, so deep it was almost felt more than heard. "What are they doing?" Mara whispered. The sensor officer swallowed hard. "Think they're calling something?" A thunderclap cracked across the valley. Dust exploded upward as the ground near the crater split open. The violet glow surged. Something enormous shifted beneath the soil's low heavy, ancient dot. Then a massive metal shape emerged, Not a machine like the others, this one dwarfed them. Its body was half buried, as if the planet had grown around it over centuries. Layered armor glistened beneath the dirt, each plate marked with symbols older than any known civilization. A long curved headpiece rose like the crest of a forgotten predator. Rian felt his heart pound. That thing, it isn't from Aurealis, or anywhere near here, Mara added quietly. The giant machine inhaled, no pulled air into vents along its spine. The sound was hollow. Hungry. Then its eyes to enormous amber cores lit up. Every machine in the valley froze. Bowing their heads in the same moment, the thing beneath the soil had woken. And it was looking for whoever disturbed its sleep. The colossal machine rose fully from the crater. Shedding centuries of dust, its amber eyes burned brighter, scanning the sky as if searching for the vanguard itself. Rian felt the heat of its gaze even through the shuttle feed. Something ancient lived inside, that steel something built to erase civilizations, not conquer them. Bring the shuttle back, Rian said quietly. Now the pilot didn't hesitate. The Sparrow banked hard, engines whining as it climbed through the thick clouds. But the giant machine reacted instantly. It lifted one massive limb, and the air rippled as energy surged toward it. They're targeting us, the pilot began. But the feed exploded into static. The bridge went silent. Mara's voice cracked. Rian, they didn't even have time to scream. Rian closed his eyes. For a moment, he stood utterly still, listening to his own heartbeat. There was grief, yes, but underneath it, something sharper, something older. Humans didn't run from threats. They studied them, they adapted. And when pushed far enough, they struck back with a fury the galaxy still struggled to understand. He opened his eyes. Prepare the main gun. The crew stared at him. Commander Mara whispered, "We don't know what that thing is." Rian nodded. "But we know what we are." The Vanguard's engines roared as the ship repositioned above the crater. The giant machine lifted its head, sensing the shift in pressure. Its amber eyes narrowed, warming to a fierce glow. Rian placed his hand on the firing panel. "For the people who trusted us," he murmured. "For every world this thing destroyed." The main cannon ignited. A column of white-blue energy slammed into the surface, ripping through cloud and soil. The shockwave flattened the valley. Machines dissolved into molten shards, and the colossal creature, and shard, powerful, relentless, cracked apart under the force. Its light flickering like a dying star. When the glow faded, nothing moved, no ambush, no silent watchers, just a barren crater, steaming quietly under the dawn. Mara exhaled shakily. "It's over." Rian looked at the ruined world below. "No," he said softly. "It's a message. Humans didn't seek war. But when darkness woke beneath the soil, humanity became the fire that ended it."